I'm capable of change, Darj. I'm a being.
I'm not.
Fine.
I'm stuck in 1997.
What was so good about 97?
I wasn't 35 for one.
Hello and welcome to the Fortnightly Frontier podcast with me and this guy over here, Mr. Darjanator. This is the, I was gonna say the only podcast, but that's not true. But we are a Star Citizen podcast that talk about just random subjects in and around the game. One of many now. Initially the first, right? Or one of the first. Yeah.
I think if not the first, it was the second.
Right.
Yeah. We have heritage.
Right.
If that's even a thing.
Hey, I mean, like in the new format. I say the new format. When I came on board, we had Sandy Gardner as a guest. So I mean, like,
yeah, that was your first foray.
That was
into and that was probably like the highest profile guest we'll ever have.
Yes, I mean that's true. But hey, she's like one of the top guys. I mean, unless we can somehow get Chris or Erin, I don't think
she's a member of the board now, isn't she?
She is. Yeah, recently actually, like. As of last month or something.
Something like that, yeah, a couple of weeks. So promoted from marketing, leader of marketing, head of marketing, or whatever her title was. Titles at CIG change all the time, so I
almost weekly, yeah. But yeah, this is the Star Citizen.
Grand Poobah of marketing, as Discolanda would say.
She even has the hat.
Mm.
But yes. This is the Star Citizen podcast where we talk about all things Star Citizen, from game mechanics all the way down to lore and design. Today we're going to be talking about... What the hell are we talking about today?
Talking about the new rest stops and basically space stations and the way they are headed, in the direction in which they're headed.
That's right.
However, before we begin, there was a very interesting, very poignant question from chat, from Sylvian, and he asks us, how are we liking 3.6? 3.6, Alpha 3.6, which has hit public PTU a couple of days ago. For everybody. Everybody is in. It's not, it still has a couple of days, maybe weeks, until it can be fully pushed to live, because it still has several game-breaking bugs. But this is, the point of the question: how are we liking it, Myre?
I'm liking it a lot. Like hover mode. I mean, like, I'm liking most things of it, but hover mode. It's seeming to. It's okay. I mean, like,
you have a nasty cough there. Is everything okay?
I need to get a hover mode checked. But yeah, no, it's been pretty decent actually in terms of the things that they brought about. The quality of life stuff, scopes and that kind of thing. Initially, I was super sad because a few things weren't coming through, such as the 890 jump, for instance. But I think that there is a lot going into this that will be immense, like quality of life and even gameplay changes as well. Like they brought in the new law system, which actually is kind of cool now.
It's cool. It fragments jurisdiction for law, for well, I'm not gonna say security companies. Are they actually security companies, since they're run by corporations? But you also have a UE jurisdiction, and then you have different corporations jurisdictions as you approach their planets. And no more equating illegal parking with murder when it comes to fines and punishments.
That's true. I mean, you still get a crime stat like pip. I don't really understand how that works now. You do. If you kill somebody, you still get a crime.
Okay, sure. If you kill somebody, but I'm just saying, it's no more equating illegal parking. You just get a fine.
Yeah. But I don't know how that pip works and if it still goes to 5 stars or whatever. But if
I think
you
it
park
does,
illegally, yeah, but I have no idea how it works. Certain things I haven't seen yet, or I don't know how they work, is, first of all, yeah, you mentioned that there is like a giant blanket jurisdiction called UEE. And like, if you like get interdicted out in open space, then it's UEE pilots. But what I haven't seen is if you get interdicted in Hurston's security space, are you interdicted by Hurston's security patrols? And if you get interdicted in ArcCorp, are you interdicted by Joker security patrols and stuff? I haven't seen that or checked that yet.
That's a good question. I think I've only been ever been interdicted by UEE people. Although with the current implementation of scanning the way it is, if you lock onto something, it just tells you the make and model of the ship. You have to do a prolonged scan to see what faction it belongs to, how many people are on board, etc., etc.
Yeah.
So I haven't been doing that.
Yeah. Speaking of scanning and interdictions, one cool thing that I'd seen, like a scanning, I guess an interdiction scenario that I'd saw, which was pretty cool, and I haven't seen it before, was I basically got caught up in the middle of this small bounty hunt where basically there was a cutlass, which was like marked as a bad guy, fighting a hawk, which was marked as a good guy. And when I scanned the hawk, there was somebody in the hawk's like prison bay. And so it was like the cutlass is trying... Anvil Hawk, yeah. You know.
Oh, Hawk, yeah.
And so like it was like the cutlass was trying to save his buddy in the Hawk, which is kind of cool. Yeah. I mean, otherwise,
all NPCs.
What do you mean all? Yeah, they were all NPCs. I scanned them all. There wasn't a single player. Plus, you can't. I mean, like, unless you say, "Please step inside my Hawk, sir," you can't really do that right now with players. But yeah,
that is true. Cool. That is true. Yeah, and the way you think this happened is you still have the 5-star rating, and to get rid of it, you don't just go to Port Korea and push a button. You have to purchase hacking tools,
right?
And then go to one of 3 locations, I want to say, depending on what the hell is happening. One of 3 locations, I think, depending on what planet you're around. So there's Port Korea, there's one on Lyria, and I want to say there's one on the moons around Hurston as well.
Right.
And then this is, I hope they speed it up because currently it's super slow. It takes you have different tiers of hacking tools. You have the fast but unreliable ones, and you have the slow but reliable ones. I only tested the slow but reliable one, but for one pip, or call it pip, one little nodule of wanted level.
Before it stops and you have to like restart it, right?
No. It's a one-time use only. So if you have 5 of them, you need 5 keys.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh, I didn't know that.
And
I have to go back and check it.
But 10 minutes.
That's ridiculous. I mean, at the same time, though, what's kind of cool is that they've basically introduced the second or maybe third counter mission as a result. Right now, I mean, in live, there's only one counter mission, and that's Tisha Pachico's mission where she sends you to get drugs, and then somebody else gets a counter mission to go and stop them. But with this, now you get a mission to go turn off the comm array, and you have a pretty detailed and tiered like counter mission to go and stop them, to go and turn off the machine, and then to leave the station.
Yeah.
So,
and considering it takes so long, I suppose if you're in, let's say, you go to Lyria, which is in orbit around ArcCorp, to get rid of your status. Since it takes 6 minutes, and if somebody else is also around ArcCorp, I can see them actually quantum traveling to Lyria, getting in through the atmosphere, landing, and then taking the elevator down to come and get you before the thing runs out.
Yeah, I mean, so if they want to maintain that long-ass time of hacking, there needs to be more to do in that whole hacking scenario as opposed to just waiting for it to work or waiting for it to jam.
Yeah.
You know, like a small mini-game.
The reliable one, I didn't need to interact with it once after I started it.
Right.
So the super slow one, I guess, is 100% reliable, and the ones that are faster, you basically all you have to do is press continue. There's no sort of mini game yet that you need to play. I guess. Yeah. So there's that. There's law system, which is progressing very nicely, which is, I guess this is tier 1 of the law system now, right?
Yeah. And you've seen the Vanguard, right, as well? Like the new Vanguard Hoplite. Not even Hoplite. I don't think the new Hoplite is in, if it is even being modified at all, but...
it will be. I think it was on Star Citizen Live. They just said they made the new exterior of the Vanguard, except the module of the hoplite.
Mm-hmm.
So they can just take the module out and put the old hoplite module in, and there you go, hoplite. But all
Right.
the others will be brand new.
That's fair enough, yeah. But I love the whole shoebox kind of nature of it's like a walking closet now, the Vanguard Warden. It's amazing. Like you go inside and it's a pretty spacious room, but you like everything like from gun racks to like lockers and everything like kind of pull inside.
Yes,
And
yeah,
it's
saw
really
that.
really cool. Yeah.
Hmm.
It kind of makes me want a Vanguard Warden. I mean, people ask me what's my favorite ship. I don't really have one, but the Warden is kind of up there just because of how nifty it is inside and also how powerful it is. I know that we have like this main topic that we're trying to like segue to.
Well,
but
I think we should just save it for last, and then we segue into the main discussion. I
Okay.
suppose.
All right.
Next things in 3.6 that we what we like. Damn it!
You have that cough too?
Yeah, I guess it's contagious. Damn. Attachments, weapon attachments are nice. You can have. There's room for the system to expand a lot. Like all other sorts of weapon attachments, they could possibly introduce like laser pointers or markers.
Laser pointers. I mean, laser pointers are kind of a weird one because if you use a laser pointer, people can see where you're laser pointing.
True, but that
Yeah.
also means you can aim from the hip.
True, but that's what crosshairs are for. I mean, oh yeah, we don't have crosshairs. You
We
mentioned
don't
this
have
in the
crosshairs,
pre-show.
yes.
Yeah.
Yes, because we've gotten so used to Star Citizen not having crosshairs, then when I play other games and I see this big thing, some monitors even have an option in the on-screen display to enable a crosshair.
Okay.
So it's permanent, no matter what application you're running.
Wait.
It runs across.
So for Star Citizen, you don't also use blue tack on your screen?
What you do? What?
No, definitely not.
But yeah, no crosshairs, so maybe a laser pointer would be interesting for those people who want to shoot the coda from the hip.
Okay.
But anyway, yes, sights.
Yeah.
Good. Sights good. Sights been
Yeah, I
missing
mean, for a
forever.
tier 0 implementation, it's a pretty good start. You know, like
but how long have we had FPS weapons so far for now, and we haven't had sights on most of those weapons.
So on top of just sights, we've also gotten weapon HUDs too. So like we got So we got sights where you can finally zoom in and whatever. And it's not perfect yet because when you like right click to zoom in, then your surroundings also zoom in, and that's not very realistic. But with the weapons themselves, like on the pistol, like now the interface now reads out your bullets, and that's something that didn't work for a long time. Like back when it was first implemented, it was like a weird like orange to darker orange thing, and then it stopped working, and then it became blank. But now it's there, and it's not only just there, but if you're walking behind somebody else who has one of these digital displays, you can see how much ammo they have.
Render to texture.
RTT.
Properly implemented. Yeah. So maybe that actually kind of points into a direction where we'll be getting other HUDs for the helmets, like maybe an option to completely disable a HUD because you have the ammo counter on the gun itself.
Okay. Yeah, I mean that's almost expected, and I imagine it's coming sooner than later.
And especially if you're not wearing a helmet. Right now you have these canned pieces of HUD, bottom left and bottom right for health and for ammo, but you're normally people don't have user interfaces projected into their eyes normally. However, this is the 30th century. There are augmented reality contact lenses in lore.
I mean, Google Glass was a thing for a while until they scrapped it, and I think Apple had one too, but they scrapped it. But 2947, like whatever, there was a resurgence, just like with VR.
Sure.
Yeah.
But maybe you just want a completely clean screen, and
Yeah. For
and
purposes.
just use actual objects for purposes, yes. And you just use actual objects to tell you what's happening. So that's new in 3.6 that we like. Shall we talk about the things we don't like in 3.6?
I mean, I haven't finished talking about the stuff I like yet.
Okay, go for it.
So one thing that I think is cool, even though I haven't really truly experienced it myself yet. What are we doing again?
I don't know. I'm just all of a sudden my Google Home Mini started up.
We're doing the podcast, Google. God damn it.
Hey Google, shut up.
Hey Bart, welcome. So yeah. Did it talk again? Anyway, so one thing that I really do like about 3.6 is some rebalancing that they've done with the ships. So I haven't actually had the chance to experience it myself, but I have seen it on certain streams as well as on Reddit. But the Hammerhead is now extremely noteworthy as a ship. Like noteworthy and noteworthy. Because
okay.
Yeah, its shields are disgusting. You just can't get through them now. I mean, unless you just have a massive concerted or both effort like against it. Unless you like are dumping size 9 torpedoes into it, it is just like you see one and you run away. And the cool thing is you can run away because of how poor its acceleration is. But I like that there is that's in it now. It's really cool.
So it's like a speedboat versus a carrier.
Gunboat. Yeah, basically.
Gunboat. Yeah.
Because its role in the verse is literally to protect capital ships, you know, like it's a corvette. So it's cool that now, even without the capital ships to protect, it's fulfilling that role. And you see a Hammerhead, you know, you're not supposed to be hanging out in that location. You know, unless of course you want to die.
I don't.
No. Trying to think.
Hammerhead, you say? Super slow. And what about its punch? Have they messed with that any?
I haven't.
Does it pack any more of a punch, or is it just same as it's been in 3.5?
I haven't run into one myself yet, but from things I've seen on Reddit, like I saw an NPC Hammerhead for 2 seconds, and I only came out with half a Vanguard and stuff. So because those Hammerheads have NPCs on all the turrets and stuff, and the NPCs are now a bit more brain smart, I think that it really depends, you know? Like, there was this video that made the rounds on Reddit with Detox and also the Dark Law, who just rated us on Twitch, and, you know, where he was flying a Hammerhead and against Detox's lot, and that Hammerhead only had 2 people, like, on the turrets, so it was severely undergunned, and they only managed to blow it up because they had, like, size 9s. But,
wow.
Yeah.
So you say NPCs have Hammerheads now?
Yeah. So like, if you're ever stopped and you know for scanning or whatever, there will typically now be 2 Vanguards and a Hammerhead stopping you.
Really? Because when I've been stopped, it was 2 Cutlasses and a Valkyrie.
I guess it depends on the jurisdiction.
Okay.
Yeah, but again,
or if you're flying through an unsavory area of space where pirates are more likely to roam, I guess.
Maybe, or the other way around. I mean, like, if things are more rough, then you want to spend less stuff there because I don't know, it's weird. You want to protect the more vulnerable areas and kind of just lightly scan the rougher areas because, I don't know, depends on how much money you have, but we're talking like super deep meta now.
Yeah. So there's that. Another thing I like. This is a double-edged sword. They did something to the flight model. One of the things is very good that they added.
Yeah.
And that is thruster power. So you can adjust how much power a thrust in percentage, how much of its full power a thruster can output. So if you drop it down to like 10%, all of a sudden your ship starts becoming really sluggish, slow to accelerate, slow to decelerate, slow to roll.
Yeah.
and turn, which is great if you want to do some very slow, nimble, gentle maneuvers around, for cinematic purposes, I suppose.
It's a feature you've wanted for ages, right?
Yes, I did. And I'm so happy that I implemented it. And it's not too convoluted. We have to kind of reach for the right alt, which kind of breaks your left hand, and if you still want to keep it on WASD and then scroll the mouse wheel.
I suppose you can always rebind it if you really wanted to.
That's too logical.
Fair enough.
I mean, because I do have like a horizontal scroll wheel I could use, maybe.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, so you can... Yeah, you have no excuse.
I really don't.
No.
So that is amazing. That is perfect, and I love it. But the other side is they added hover mode.
Okay?
That cough again. Yeah, it's really bad. It's weird. I've seen people with HOTASes do extremely well.
Oh yes, the videos
Yeah.
I've seen of
Yeah,
them
like
using it.
I was in Texas Skull stream when he was just setting up his brand new HOTASes, HOSAS, because he has two of them.
Stick and stick.
Yeah, stick and stick. And he was flying a Constellation on Daymar, and he picked it up immediately. He was in 3.6 for 30 minutes, and he was mastering it already. Me, on mouse and keyboard, I die a lot. Would be a gentle way of saying it.
You're not the only one. I think it's because more or less with the hover mode, they kind of designed that from an analog perspective first, which is rare for Star Citizen. It's normally designed from like a joystick. I mean, maybe, I guess those are also analog. So I was going to say controller, which is also analog too. But
keyboard's the only digital one.
Yeah, exactly. So because it's designed from that standpoint and it's such a nuanced thing, using those things, controllers, keyboards, mouse, HOSAS, HOMAC, all that kind of stuff, it's a lot more, I guess, intuitive to use. Whereas if you're using keyboard and mouse, where things are a lot more difficult, especially the rapid and random accelerations that you get, which are because
why does that happen, by the way?
It happens because when you're if it happens when you're taking off, it's because your mouse is slightly below the horizon. And so the moment you take off, the ship goes, oh, you want the helicopter pitch downwards and go boom, because there's and then the same with
but I mean, you can have throttle power set to 0 and it'll still do that.
Will it?
Yeah, it will. I've tested it. Many people have tested it. To 0.
No, that's weird. I have no explanation for that one. But definitely,
hopefully it's a bug. Hopefully it's something that they haven't tuned out or accounted for.
Yeah.
Maybe just there's an if-else statement in the script that's wrong way around. Hopefully, but yeah, it's very bad. It's on, especially when you're trying to land. Like I was trying to land at Grimhex. And the way to land on a surface with gravity is super cool. Now you just set thruster power to whatever setting it is, so it doesn't. So it can't fight gravity anymore.
Okay.
The thrusters can't fight. So you just gently float down to the surface. And as soon as it got to wherever hover mode enables, bam, straight into the wall.
So maybe what you should be doing differently with Grimhex is approaching it from the different angles, so you don't hit the wall. You just go back into space. So I think that's user error. Next question. But you'll be happy to know that with the most recent PTU patch R, hover mode no longer activates anywhere that does not have an atmosphere, so it'll not activate in like
that is stupid.
Or maybe it will. Huh?
That is stupid though.
Why?
Because hover mode is designed to fight gravity, not atmosphere.
But how does the Constellation's atmospheric fans work?
They don't. They only work in atmosphere. But ships that don't have fans, they can hover everywhere. I'm
Right.
fine. I would be fine with hover mode if it just had all these bumps and niggles worked out before it goes live, I suppose.
Right.
And
Fair
maybe
enough.
that's just a countermeasure, so people stop crashing while they attempt to fix it in a more
Definitely, I don't think it's
proper way.
permanent. Yeah,
Mm.
but for now, at least you'll be happy until they manage to fix those bugs.
I hope I will.
I hope,
Yeah.
I hope so too.
We'll have to go test it as soon as this show is over because the patch came out last night, I believe, or
Yeah, I think
was
so.
it
There might be
today?
a new one. No, I think it was yesterday. So
Okay.
there might be another one today because of how fast they are with this one. Maybe they might even put. Nah, I don't think they're ready to push to live just yet. But I've been wrong many a time before.
No, definitely, no. I would say there's just so many things that they still need to fix, that are not ready for live just yet, and hopefully because we have some things to do still in 3.51 that we're relying on a bug in 3.5 that's been fixed for 3.6. Anyway,
Secret stuff.
that's a secret. That's secret stuff. Yeah. And the last thing, is it the last thing? Have we gone to the last thing in 3.6?
I have. I mean, like we've covered everything that I suppose we like, and the one thing that we like a whole lot less. We like it into the negative. But I don't think we. Yeah, I don't think we've missed anything just yet.
So, and the final thing, the new
Hmm.
stations.
The new stations, yes, the so-called cities in space.
Yeah, that thing. So that used to be a small truck stop, and there's a pip of Myre using the the elevator.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, they're hand in hand.
The
I guess, yeah.
Wonkavators. Yeah, the Wonkavators. They don't teleport anymore. They actually move through space, and if you have any markers, you can tell by how smoothly that happens. But yeah, these new stations are amazing.
They're great. Yeah. Ooh, wide camera. I can do this now.
Oh yes. um, they're even some would say too big
They're ridiculously big.
for the interiors at least, because currently the interior of one of those ships doesn't even cover like one of those
Panels.
panels. Yeah. So what are they gonna fill these behemoths with?
And if not now, in the future, right? Like it looks
Yeah,
like
well,
they're
no,
they're
3.6
future-proofing.
we're not. Yeah, 3.6
Yeah.
we're not getting proper interiors. They're still using the old interiors, and you can tell because I'm approaching Myre, who is
Look at
hanging out
that.
at the viewport, and that is so tiny.
One thing that's really cool though with this is that you can tell that with the size of these stations, they can really appropriate them for anything gameplay related. They can make
Yeah.
them whatever they need to be without having to worry about making any more stations. It's using the same system for the old rest stops that they're using for this one, and it fits in perfectly even in this rounded shape. And
Yeah, because it's just so huge, you don't really get to see any of that roundness. They would just need to make a corridor slightly at an angle to account for the curve.
yeah,
But they are so big that I have a sneaking suspicion that they will be migrating a lot of gameplay loops from planet surfaces up into these stations.
oh man, I would love that so much, like especially since they've made so much work with their room systems. I think that would work really, really well. Because just in the making of the old rest stops, they made a room system and they made the back end tech for it so that without having to put too much thought into it, they can get like a program or an algorithm or whatever to make whatever they want. They can tell the algorithm, we want this station to have this amount of stuff in it, and it'll do it. And then they'll say, we're going to populate it with this amount of quest items or whatever to do inside them, and that'll happen as well.
Also, what I want, what I really, really want, I'll tell you what I want.
Tell me what you want. What you really, really want. You wanna. Anyway, sorry, that was a really.
Spawning at these rest stops.
I'm ashamed of myself. Spawning in these rest stops will be amazing, and they've mentioned orbital rest stops, which aren't in yet either. I imagine they'll be very similar to this stuff too, you know, like where you'll have maybe a smaller one, maybe a larger one. Who knows how those will work? Maybe they'll look more cargo oriented. But yeah, spawning in these rest stops would be really cool too, for sure.
I think like for regular rest stops, just fueling up, repairing, maybe going for a bit of shopping. I think the old ones are just fine.
Yeah,
But whenever you have one of these big things, I would say, because they are the size of cities,
they are.
it's about 6 to 10 kilometers from end to end.
Yeah.
You could have districts, you could have neighborhoods of thousands of NPCs and players occupying them, mission givers, mission locations.
And
Like, can you imagine, instead of having to go onto a planet location for one of those NPC cleanup missions, eviction missions, you'd have to just go to another part of the same station,
of the
into a
same
bad
station.
neighborhood. Yeah,
That
into
would
a
be
bad
cool.
neighborhood. Do you
Yeah.
remember, like, was it? I think it was in Mass Effect 2.
Okay.
Yeah, you got a mission on the Citadel to go to another part of the Citadel, but that was just this, loading screen transition, and then you were on a different location.
Yeah.
Here, you would take a train and go along the edge of this ring station to away from the people living in a good part of town,
Yeah.
to
Oh,
a
definitely.
slum.
Definitely, as was said in chat, like a tram system on something like this would make sense.
Definitely,
And
yeah,
would definitely make it
needed.
feel even bigger. Yeah. And if we put together some other like little, I guess, breadcrumbs from other things I've seen, a while ago they showed off the new map system, and they used a station silhouette very similar to this for that map system, and it was roomed out and everything.
Yeah.
And
So if you have a tram system, you wouldn't even have to have the entire thing mapped out.
no,
You could have just 10, 15 different regions connected by trams, and just have trams going around in circles all the time, or maybe even the opposite. Would make sense if they went clockwise and anti-clockwise. So if you want to go from District 1 to District 15, you wouldn't have to go through 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, all the way around.
right. And
But there's so much possibility with such a huge object that they've created, and a modular object like that.
definitely
Every one of these is different.
And on the topic of modular as well, a long while ago now, in one of the jump points, they actually had a feature on the stations, and even though these specific stations weren't there in the models, they were talking a lot about modularity and what you could do with them. And even back then, I think 2016 or so, they had already plotted that some stations will have destructible areas, and there will be ships in and of themselves dependent on having their solar panels active and having all these other things working as well. So I can see missions in the future where you as the player would have to come and maintain these things or destroy them, which also kind of brings me towards maybe thinking that in the future, like, organizations or players may find derelict stations and bring them back up again.
Oh,
and
wow. That would be amazing.
yeah, and basically keep them and protect those vital spots from being attacked by other players as well. I think that that'd be a really cool, all-encompassing thing to kind of look into.
Would also be cool if you could move them, but I think that's slightly out of game.
This isn't Deep Space Nine.
Well,
But-
just change the orbit a bit, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah. Oriented towards the sun properly, so the solar panels get more sun. Maybe.
Yeah,
Maybe.
yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah. So if they go down this route and start moving gameplay loops away from planets to these stations, I think they should definitely do that, because it's been stated forever now that going down to a planet shouldn't be an everyday occurrence because it's so much of a hassle.
Definitely.
Going through atmosphere and then through no-fly zones to find the landing or the spaceport, and then going about your business. It would have to be a special occasion.
Yeah, they'd be pretty novel, like looking at other space games that exist right now, like Elite Dangerous, going to big stations like that. That's what normally happens within that game. And every like maybe 10 missions, you'd have like a planetary mission that's available or whatever to go down. And that makes more sense as well because you have all these bigger ships like the Hull E's and stuff, and they're going to need more of these stations because the smaller planetary areas are going to be, well, unreachable by them.
Yeah. Well, I mean, just like if you have a container ship, you don't go from the straight from the mine to the store.
Right.
You go from port to port, and other vessels, other vehicles take care of the logistics in between. Like, from the mine to the refinery, from the refinery to a factory, from a factory to the port, and then from the port to distribution centers, and then to stores. It goes down every time it goes down a level. So, but yeah, you still need those big vehicles to do mass transit, but those have to go from easily reachable locations by those ships, and these stations certainly fit the bill.
Besides, I heard a rumor. This game is called Star Citizen, not Planet Citizen. Just saying. So
what?
More gameplay in the stars, please.
Yeah, exactly.
Black Intellect in chat says maybe not moving them away from planets, but all of them in addition to planetary gameplay. I agree with that, definitely, because, right, like as you're saying, all this economy has to tie in. So even though we have all these rest stops and stuff, and we're going to get these orbital stations, I think we've talked about this maybe even on this podcast, but like the idea of like having something like a Hull E taking its cargo to like an orbital station, and then because it's like 10 to 1 NPCs, and NPCs will then go back and forth and shuttle the goods the Hull E sent to the planet as part of trade, and then players themselves can also use like their Hull A's through C to go planet to station to also get some money moving those things around to help the economy flow.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, exactly. Or even, maybe not even a Hull, maybe just somebody who is already traveling from station to planet surface, has a few bits of cargo space left, just goes to the, I don't know, I suppose the logistics center and asks, do you have anything going to the planet surface, and could I help?
Yeah.
Because I think that is supposed to be how it goes in cargo, instead of every person being in charge of what they transfer, scouting out proper not material but resources to buy, and then scouting out the locations where they can sell them for most profit. I think that all of that should happen by the NPCs, by the big AI in the background, and that creates missions, and that creates supply, that creates demand.
Right, definitely.
That way.
Yeah, and they've shown off the supply and demand, I guess, pipeline idea a while ago. We have primary, secondary, and tertiary economy and how that ties in. Havoc says it would be cool to see massive cities that contain a ton of different destroyed ships being made into a makeshift stronghold. That actually exists.
Isn't that the Spider?
Spider is one of them. Spider is a bit more, I mean, I know of two. I know of Spider, which is basically a whole bunch of ships stocked together. And there's another one called Kadisu Reef, which is another spider, but more of a Grim Hexy kind of spider.
Oh, okay.
It's more alien-y. In the lore thing, it was in a Jump Point a long time ago, but basically it's kind of like in that what's that word in Star Trek? Like you have the Klingon space, and you have in the neutral zone between human space and I think a Xi'an space. There's like a jump away. And so nobody really hangs out in this sector, and so Kadisu Reef is just kind of there, and a whole bunch of like people and aliens are kind of like just like there in and amongst like minefields and stuff.
Interesting. So it's like a flotilla thing.
Basically,
can it disband, like disassemble into?
No.
Okay, so it's basically permanently stuck together. Oh, okay.
Basically, yeah.
Mm.
Part of the crew,
Interesting.
part of the ship, part of the station.
Mm.
Yeah. So, I mean, I imagine that we'd see that in the future as well. Who knows how soon? Not very soon, but it's there as one of the kinds of stations. And since there's Kadisu and there's Spider, I imagine that doing the same thing they've done through and throughout, they'll most likely use a tool to basically be able to make as many of these kind of flotilla-style stations as they want.
Mm. Maybe in sort of non-UEE space, where people had to band together, but there was no actual habitable moon, for instance, or habitable planet for them to settle down on. So they were forced to start welding their ships together to create a huge communal space thing.
Yeah.
Mm.
Exactly. I mean, there's a lot to look forward to when it comes to space stations, and it was a massive concern of mine that there was maybe a bit too much effort being put into planetary tech now in 2019, and not enough into the gameplay loops and into the things that you can see and do within space. Them refactoring or at least adding more stuff towards space stations in this direction have kind of really helped with, I guess.
But you do know what working life-size planets did for it, right?
No, tell me.
Revenue.
That's true. That's true. Very true.
Yeah, I don't think they would have had as many new players jumping in and giving up their preciously hard-earned money if it was just stations at that point instead of planets.
Definitely. Yeah, that's very true. And I think it's worked exponentially. I mean, like, didn't they get that whole Caldwell deal or whatever, or like not even deal, but like that funding that happened after
for
Hurston.
the Squadron 42 marketing. Yeah.
Yeah, that happened like after Hurston. So it's getting money from all places because of how amazing it looks and the potential that they're basically showing. So Black Intellect says, I wonder if we'll have orgs use multiple ships of theirs to have floating executive offices in space also, and have it goes, yes, that. Well, that's what a Banu Merchant Man is. It's literally a giant floating market that has like a meeting room where you can basically sit down with your prospective clients while looking into your cargo hold and talking about your wares and how much you want to go and sell your wares inside your Banu Merchantman. Although I don't know if Banu will sound like a Jeet. I hope they don't. But yeah.
Banu have ware if you have a credit.
Plenty of it for you.
But yeah, there's also the 890 jump jacuzzi where such dealings would happen at a more personal level if you were.
Or even the Constellation Phoenix that literally has a boardroom desk with like 6 seats.
Next to the jacuzzi.
Yeah, you can have organization podcasts there and like.
Ooh. Yeah.
Speaking
and with
which,
VoIP, can you? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
The VoIP's actually been getting some swell upgrades.
Yeah, and with yesterday's patch, they should even be better. They mentioned that the VoIP fidelity has been improved yet again as of yesterday's patch, so you can now see people talking as you should have been in the past. The main downfall of VoIP at the moment has been kind of crackly and staticky voice, but if they fix the face animations and stuff, I imagine the voice stuff is also, well, I mean,
from my experience, the tracking of the face has never been the issue. It's been translating the tracking information into facial animations. Because it managed to, other than maybe some issues with the top of my glasses being recognized as eyebrows. Other than that, the tracking has been really good. Yeah. And also, I saw on Reddit people being able to turn like 90 degrees.
You've always been
on
able
the
to
camera.
do that.
Have you always been able to do that?
Yeah.
Like completely 90 degrees, so even one of your eyes is obscured? Oh, okay.
Yeah, yeah, since the beginning. Like, I saw it on Reddit, but I didn't post anything about it, but you have been since the beginning.
All right.
Maybe it's more accurate, maybe it's a bit more responsive, but you have been able to do that. If you turn your face and you don't have an eye, it would show on one face. I think
Does it actually also, when you turn your head, does it actually turn the character's head, or is it just the
where
view in the game? Like, do you still have to use your mouse to look around for people to see that you're moving your head, or
it's
can
something
you just...
we'd have to test out because I'm not sure anymore.
And you call yourself a podcaster?
Anyway.
Why are we like this?
You can fill in the blanks there if you want to.
Yeah.
What else?
I think that was the intention.
Yeah.
What else? What else in 3.6? You know what? I'm kind of drawing a blank. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna hit up the roadmap.
The roadmap.
The roadmap.
I shall sit here awkwardly and wait.
Well, we're not getting this in 3.6, but we're getting it in 3.6.1, which is ship purchasing kiosks.
Is that on the roadmap now? They've made a roadmap section.
It's on the 3.6. No, but it's in the 3.6 roadmap, but we know it's not in 3.6. It's waiting for 3.6.1.
Yeah.
Black market economy is a thing. Oh yeah, it's the transporting of illicit goods that you can get pulled over and scanned for.
Mm-hmm. Like gasping weevil eggs. It's like, what do you have in here, citizen? Nothing to see here. And then I love the new boxes and stuff for that stuff, though.
I don't think it's the eggs that are gasping. I think it's the weevils that are gasping. So since they're gasping weevil eggs, they will not be gasping yet or at all.
That's a good point, I guess.
What is gasping evil egg even for? Is it like an ingredient for drug manufacturing, or is it?
I've had to deliver them to like whatever outpost, so they could either be a drug or they could be a poison or something.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, they've actually added new assets for the boxes and stuff. So the gasping weevil eggs is in this flimsy cardboard container.
Saw that.
Yeah,
those actually first made an appearance in Kasaba. Like in the background, like they were like a non-interactable prop, but now it's something that you can just actually grab.
That's neat.
But and there's also other boxes. Before it was basically just one half by half meter container of various textures and colors, but they've added so many more now. Like I said, the cardboard box, which is like half height, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Or like 2/3 height. And what else? I think I think there's some really like ramshackled package that almost looks like it's gonna fall apart as soon as you pick it up. There's also meant for like drug dealing paraphernalia or materials, stuff like that.
Yeah, so I don't think the full black market is in, but at least possessing those things and doing missions for them is definitely in, but there's no trade kiosks surrounding that stuff yet. I think I haven't tried, I haven't checked, but I'm not sure. But yeah, why can't the weevils and the eggs gasp?
Oh yeah. You'd want the egg to have a mouth and a lung, so it could.
It is alien. What came first, the weevil or the gasp?
The weevil or the gasp? But looking at the roadmap, I think we're still quite a fair ways away from 3.6 because we have harvestable entity spawning.
Yep.
Which I don't think is in the PTU yet.
Don't think so.
No. What else? Law system is in. Transit system. That's the good one.
Beauty. They refactored Lorville again. The actual like train map is completely different yet again.
And you don't have two platforms per location. You only have a single platform.
For now, until they can find a use for the other one. Now that this one is so much more.
Because it looks jank because it looks like it was designed for two and then they just cordoned off one.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. So for now, I mean, like, I imagine once they like we have more districts, and we will do once we get things like persistent housing, which is promised once when they showed off Lorville, at the beginning. And yeah, for now it's janky looking, but it works amazingly. Like you have to give it up to the Foundry 42 Germany Frankfurt people for
coming up with a new system. Yes.
Yeah.
Because right now, like I said, there's a secret thing that we are doing in 3.5.1 live, and sometimes you have to wait 4 minutes for a train.
It's not easy. No.
With the new system, I don't think I've seen over 30 seconds, and there's a new one there waiting for you.
It's good.
But yeah, it's looking good. It's looking good.
Yeah.
So much room for theory crafting.
So much room for crafting all the theories. It's beautiful. I hate theory crafting.
But it's all we do on this thing.
I know,
on
right?
The show. You're on the wrong show.
Evidently.
How about, since you're feeling so uncomfortable, how about you see us out for today?
All right, so ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching this episode, this installment of the Fortnightly Frontier featuring Mr. Darjanator, chat on Twitch TV, and myself. For those listening on YouTube and Spotify and elsewhere, thank you so much for your ears. They are beautiful, and you should moisturize them and take care of them this summer. And we will see you next time in about 2 weeks for another installment of the Fortnightly Frontier. Take it easy, everybody.
And we'll see you in the verse, as we say.